Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Billy Reacts to Justice League X RWBY Part 2. Now, I remember reacting to the first trailer, and I was a bit mixed on it, but I was still optimistic the film could be good. Then the film came out.
Bruce, their world isn't your home.
I have powers on their world, Diana. I never wanted powers. I didn't think I needed them. But on Remnant, I can help.
I think it's pretty safe to say that the film is a rather mixed bag. I don't think the film is like terrible, but for a movie that has two really big fan favorite franchises, and you're gonna have them cross over, and not that being the first RWBY official movie, kind of an underwhelming film. And to be honest, if you've seen the Lads Discuss episode, you know our problems with the film. The casting choice was a bit weird, the characterization was also just butchered on both sides. The only characters I would really say that were at their peak was RWBY and Superman. In fact, their characteristics and their banter and chemistry made me really want to see a Superman and RWBY movie over a Justice League and RWBY movie. It didn't help that they completely changed up the Justice League just so that they could match the RWBY characters with designs, with personality changes. Granted, the Batman in this film was not as bad as he was in the comic crossover, the first one, but trying to picture all those lines that Batman said with Kevin Conroy's voice doesn't really make him sound like the badass detective. It doesn't help, a lot of the characters were really dumbed down just to make certain RWBY characters look good. You know, like Batman being the world's greatest detective. Unfortunately, Weiss kind of stole the spotlight. The only time he got to shine was when he was able to reveal that Flash was Kilgore. Cyborg also kind of an asshole to RWBY for no reason, nor a threatening Superman. And Wonder Woman's entire character changed just so her and Blake can have their bond. Now, I get it, the reason for that is because Erin's a big Wonder Woman fan, she voices Blake, so she wanted them to have that sort of like connection. But I just don't think you had to completely change Wonder Woman's origin and her opinions on the Justice League just so Blake could have that big speech. I think if anything it would have been more empowering if both those two showed that despite the differences in their teams, they respected their teammates. It just kind of made Blake feel a bit patronising to me. But big shock, the people behind CRWBY did in fact hear the criticism. They heard the criticism, they realised it, they got rid of the writer of the first film, and Kerry's stepping down as director. They got different writers, different directors for this film. So it's good that, I do like it when a studio or a group of developers or anyone hears the criticisms of their first project, decided, we hear what you're saying, we will fix it. I don't know, I feel like that thing's just kind of not really talked about. Like, yeah, it's easy to make fun of a studio for their fuck-ups, but isn't it also big props when they acknowledge their fuck-ups? Is that just a me thing? Like, shouldn't we praise them for hearing what we said and decide, hey, you know what, people didn't like this, so let's try and make it better. But of course, I've still yet to react to the trailer, so this is my reaction to the trailer, and let's see if they've done things better.
Calling the Justice League. We need your help.
Kilgore.
Really? Really?
Okay, so the first thing I've noticed is that they're kind of bringing in the RWBY humour into the Justice League, so I'll see how the rest of the trailer goes before I give my opinion. I will say though, hey, the Justice League actually looked like the Justice League. Wow, they actually heard that complaint. Props to them.
We need to find Team RWBY.
You know, it's bad all over, but why does it feel like they have it out for us?
Again, I'm not really sure I'm digging the humour of this. Like, don't get me wrong, this is RWBY humour, and I do like RWBY's humour. But the Justice League making these type of jokes, I don't know, it's coming off as very MCU-like. Modern MCU-like.
Good to see you again, Ruby Rose.
Clark!
Here, it's Superman.
They immediately threw out the whole Clark thing. One of the biggest gripes I had with it is the fact it didn't feel as though Team RWBY respected the name Superman. So I'm really happy they're like, okay, we're gonna call him Superman in this movie. We apologize. He is Superman here. Thank you for hearing that, Chris. I hated the fact they shitted on Superman's name in the first film.
We're different here.
I feel amazing!
Okay, fighting's also looking pretty good in this film. Blake without ears, though, is still weird.
Kilgore, come face us!
You come into my territory and expect to win?
Let's go stop some monsters.
Okay, so they're still in the digital world, it seems. Or at least some sort of digital world. You know what? You know what? This trailer was really good. Yeah, I have to honestly say, it's looking like a promising crossover. I still don't like they're doing the whole characters are getting redesigned. That still seems a little weird. Like, I don't know what's with CRWBY or even DC saying like, all right, if you guys want to cross over for us, we have to completely change each side. Like, I will say I do like the idea of RWBY's team getting new powers when they enter the DC world. That's something they kind of played around with in the newest comic series. In fact, I'd actually say the new comics that are coming out for the crossovers are actually really entertaining. Now, as far as the story, it seems as though they're once again in a digital world, or maybe they're going to be in the real world, but then they go into Kilgore's digital world to try and face him again. Okay, so Kilgore didn't get destroyed in the last film. That's what I always kind of thought happened. It doesn't seem as though we are going to get more DC villains, which is a bit underwhelming. Like the newest comics that are coming out, we get to actually see different variations of DC villains, and I will say when it comes to RWBY and DC, DC clearly have the better villains. In fact, that's always been praised about DC. They have the greatest villains and the greatest heroes of all time. Lex Luthor, Darkseid, Brainiac, Marzo, Plastic Man. Well, I mean, he became a hero, but you get my point. Oh, Two-Face, Scarecrow, the Penguin, the Joker, Mr. Freeze, like, all these brilliant villains. And they still just settling on Kilgore, it seems, along with some secret character, which not really sure who it could be though, but I'm still a little bit unsure of this movie. Okay, from the story perspective, but I will say it seems as though they heard the criticisms and they're looking to fix it, like, immediately. Superman's like, they call me Superman as well. Like, I'm glad that they just threw that out the window, just like, okay, we understand we kind of took the piss out of Superman's name, so we're going to sort that out. I still don't get the whole character redesigns. I know, I'm focused on that a lot, but this is something I mentioned in the lads discussion video. The greatest thing about crossovers is seeing how drastically different these characters are, and just seeing them mix with other characters. Take, for instance, Smash Bros. Brawl. It's a really big franchise, and it's a really big crossover event. They have all these different gaming characters coming together for a fight. But they never drastically change characters to look different for the sake to be in Smash Bros. Well, some for age restriction purposes anyway. But, like for instance, when you see Bayonetta with Mario, you see Bayonetta with Mario. Mario's not drastically changed to fit Bayonetta. Bayonetta is not drastically changed to fit with Mario. Kazuha and Kirby, drastically different characters, but they're still the same in the crossover. It's just something I don't quite get. Wouldn't you want to see these characters in these forms, like, just as their characters? I like the idea that they get powers when they enter a different world. Batman gaining powers and all these other characters, but why do we have to keep drastically changing it? And you know what, maybe I missed it. I will go back to watch it for this reaction, but they have Black Canary. Where's Green Arrow? In fact, let me actually just quickly look that up. Yeah, like, no Green Arrow. That's weird. You have Black Canary in the Justice League, and no Oliver? I feel as though his banter would be brilliant for something like RWBY. I don't know. I will say, I will wait until the full movie comes up before I criticise the jokes. In the trailers though, I just don't think the humour they're trying to mix with the Justice League works. It works with RWBY because you're following these teenage girls fighting monsters. So they have very expressive and of course over-exaggerated reactions when a monster appears. Like, they're children, so when they see a monster mutate into a giant and they're just like, why do they have things against us? That's fitting for their characters. But when the Justice League, characters that have experience fighting monsters, demons, zombies, gods, why are they surprised when, and especially in this context here, why was Vixen so surprised when Elephant had such a grudge against her? I mean, it's a Grim. In fact, that's another thing. They know it's Kilgore. Why are they surprised that they have such an aggression against the Justice League? That's what I'm saying, that sometimes the humour works. If it was the RWBY characters, it would make sense. The Justice League making these humours just doesn't work. But I will say, this trailer is looking good. It looks like a good movie, and well, we'll have to wait until the film comes out. But compared to the first one, when I was really worried about will this be good, and then I was rather mixed when I saw it, this film's actually looking fun. It looks like they took the criticisms people had, and they're like, we will fix it. In the next film, we're changing everything, and the characters will be represented how you want to be represented. Like, that's all I wanted. And if this film turns out to be, it doesn't have to be amazing, but if it could be as good as the Batman vs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or even like the recent comic books with RWBY, I'm all for it, and I'm looking forward to this film now. But obviously, time will tell. It could just be, you know, I could be excited a bit too early, like celebrate prematurely. But let's see how this film does. All that said and done, thank you all so much for watching, and what did you think from this trailer? Does it look good? Are you a bit mixed on it like I am? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, if you like what you saw here, be sure to share the channel around, keep the channel growing. Farewell everybody.